Good morning and welcome to Eternity Speaks. I'm your host, Reverend Bill Eggleston. I hope everyone's had a great week and is doing well. Uh, this week, I'd like to talk about the importance of learning to just be. That might sound a little odd, but uh, I got a reason for it. Uh, I know in the past I've talked about things like the importance of self care and self reflection and things like that. Finding your path, finding your faith, that sort of thing. Uh, But what I mean by just learning to be is very similar to that. It's about learning to be comfortable in your own skin, uh, learning to just accept things for what they are, and just learning from that, learning from everything around you. Before you can expect to be happy with anyone else or in the world in general, you first need to be happy with yourself. You need to find yourself and get a good sense of who you are and what you want and learn what's out there for you. Learn to interact with other people and everything around you. That's why things like meditation and self reflection and prayer become very important. uh, it's it's just as important to establish a solid relationship with God as it is to establish a solid relationship with yourself. Uh, you need to learn to respect and communicate openly with yourself. Don't be afraid to talk to yourself occasionally. I talk to myself all the time, and I'm not crazy. Anyway, you just sometimes you just need that expert advice on what you're dealing with at the moment. Uh, After all, no one knows better about what you're going through or how you're feeling about it than you and God, of course, but that's a given. Uh, Never lie to yourself. Uh, don't justify the disrespect of other people to save your own feelings. Don't take a negative comment or a bad situation and sugarcoat it to justify it in your mind as to, maybe I deserve that, or maybe they didn't mean that, or don't justify things. Um, just just learn to accept them. Uh, while we can't control the actions and the words of other people, but we can control our response to them. When you feel disrespected by others, it's a reflection of them, not of you. Uh, Basically, if they find it important enough to say something negative to you or to be negative in any way, you're living rent free right here in their head. That's on them. You can't control that. That's You just accept it and move on. Um, and never be afraid to pray for those people. Uh, don't be afraid to pray for people that have wronged you in some way. Learn to forgive those people. Let those feelings go. It does you absolutely no good at all to hang on to those feelings, to dwell on those. That doesn't do you any good at all. You can't control that. You can't you can't change it. You just move on. If that's the way they want to feel, then let them feel that way. Uh, just pray for them. Just hope that they find peace and they get over whatever it is. Don't treat them any differently. Just go with it. That's like I said. That's I hate to say it this way, but that's their problem, not yours. Uh, Learn to trust your feelings. Don't get consumed by what other people say. What other people say, what they do. Um, Somebody cuts you off in traffic, you get mad for a minute, but you know, you don't dwell on that. You don't let that ruin your entire day. You move on from it. Try not to harbor those feelings of negativity and just learn to let them go. Uh, but at the same time, like I was saying, trust your own feelings. Learn to trust your instincts when something doesn't seem right, and learn not to take things personally. Um, I've said it before when people, everybody's going through something. Uh, you don't know what that is. That could you may have encountered that person on a very bad day for them. Something's going on. You don't know what it is. It's not up to you to know what it is. It's just treat everyone with respect and don't don't let things get to you. You know, if you're having a problem with something, pray about it. Uh, we've said it many times, and God said it many times. Uh, if you have problems, turn them over to Him. Talk to them. Talk to Him as though He's an old friend, because he really is. Uh, just lay it all out there for Him. Hand it over to Him, and let him deal with it. Pray about it, and it's important to, after you pray about something, to not forget about it, but just trust in that prayer. Okay, when you pray about something and you turn those feelings or that problem over to God, if it's important enough to turn it over to God, it's important enough to let Him handle it. Don't keep dwelling on it. Don't try to intervene. Don't check on it. Don't, you know, that's not what it's about. It's like when you're growing a garden and you plant a seed. You know, you water that seed like you're supposed to. You pray about it. You water that seed. Um, you've planted that seed, so you've turned it over. And what do you think's going to happen if you keep digging that seed up to see how it's coming? You're probably not going to end well for that seed. So plant that seed, turn it over, water it, pray about it, and let it grow. Just trust in the fact that it's going to be handled, and let it go. Let it develop on its own. Don't rush it. Give it what it needs, and let it grow. And part of that is just accepting people for who they are. Just accept the fact that not everyone's going to like you. Okay? Not everyone's going to love you. It just, things just are. And that's what I mean by just learning to just be. Just be comfortable with yourself, comfortable with those around you, and just be who you are. Be yourself. Don't worry about what other people think. That's not important. The only thing that's important is your personal relationship with God. That's what you need to water right there. That's what you need to plant. That's what you need to water. That's what's going to grow. Um, I don't know why I'm going with all the gardening metaphors here, but it just felt right. So I'm going with it. Uh, but like I always say, be good to other people, uh, pray for each other, look out for one another. And at this time, I'd like to turn the show over to Barry and our special guest, St. Timothy.
Good morning.
Morning.
It's a Sunday morning, so here we are.
Absolutely.
And Saint Timothy's here. He's ready, so we might as well just get on with it.
Okay.
Oh, next week it's going to be Saint Peter.
Okay. Good. Good.
All right.
I'll get that down.
Good morning, everyone. I'm really pleased to be able to speak to you again. Have each of you looked into your heart to see what your relationship is with God? That is one of the most important questions anyone will ever ask you. Only you know what your relationship is with God. Oh, there are many that talk about having a great relationship with Him. They say, "Oh, I listen, I do all He wants. He is in my heart. I know He loves me." And then they go out and do exactly what they please. They harm people. They may do violence, they may steal. They think it's ordinary. And then Sunday comes and they say, "Oh, I followed the words of God. I know what He wants me to do." Well, these people are living under the grand illusion. They're living under the illusion that no matter what they do, all is going to be well when they return to heaven. Well, it's what it is. It's an illusion because all won't be well for them. They will be told exactly where their failings were. They'll be told the good things as well. But they will especially be told about their deceit, the illusion. They will be told how they have tried to mislead themselves and how through their words they mislead others and how through their deeds they actually go against God. You see, humans use their egos to believe that they're invincible. Many of them don't even believe in God. They won't take time to think about it. They won't even take time to look around. They won't look at a newborn baby. They won't do any of the things that assure them that God is real. Oh, they look at them, but they're too, shall we say, stupid to understand that God created all of these things. God created humans themselves. Without God, there'd be no humans. Think of the miracles that he had to do to make the life of humans possible on this planet. Look at the moon. Nobody can live up there on the moon. There's no water, there's nothing. There's a vacuum. God created the moon so that life could exist on Earth. The moon creates the tides of the ocean. It creates many things. The gravity of the moon allows humans to exist on this earth. Do you think that's an accident? It's not. God knew exactly what he was doing. Now, there's many humans that think they know exactly what they're doing, but they're fools. If they do not believe in God, they are fooling themselves. And when you fool yourself or try to fool others, that's the definition of being a fool. Maybe that's a little strong, but maybe it's not. You see, individuals have to know. They have to know what's within their hearts. They have to know what they believe, and they have to know how they want to live their lives. Humans think they're smarter than God. Oh, I got a big cell phone. I can do all kinds of things. I can say, hey, Google, play me a song. Yeah, sure. Do you realize how childish that is in the big picture? Your technologies are like a baby being born. Someday you might understand that the other great civilizations of the world have had technologies that put what you know here on earth to shame. You think you know everything, and you think that this little bit of knowledge that you have proves to you that God doesn't exist. Well, if you think that, you just flunked your test. You see your whole life as a test. How you live your life is going to determine how the real life of your soul is treated upon its return. You came back with a mission. Now, I don't know what each of your individual missions was or is or should be, but you had a life plan that laid out lessons that you needed to learn. Each human is unique. Each human has an individual path that they are to follow. That path will lead them to what they need to know to advance in the realms of heaven. Many of you have accumulated great wealth, and many of you haven't. You see, wealth can bring very much unhappiness. Many of you that lead very simple lives are extremely happy because you have God in your heart and you know what's going to happen when you return and you help others and you have this great happiness. There are many people that have incredible wealth and it brings them incredible unhappiness. All they think about is trying to have more wealth. Oh, maybe I should have my fourth yacht or my fifth home or many other things. You see, the trappings of wealth can be the pathway to incredible unhappiness. Many people do use the wealth to help others, and that brings them happiness. Look at the individuals that are supposedly important people on your TV screen. Do you think they're happy? Most of them are suffering from depressions that they're hiding from you. They can't find happiness in personal relationships. They always think that the grass is greener on the other side. They're surrounded by beautiful women, by beautiful men. They're tempted in ways that destroy their relationships. There are many, many things that can bring on happiness. But there is one thing that can bring great happiness, and that's following the ways of our Lord, doing what God says, following his simple messages, living a life where you follow the golden rule. You treat other people just like you want to be treated. Oh, now maybe there's some masochists out there, but I'm not talking to them. Each week, we ask you to spread the words of God among others. Some of you do, but most of you don't. Spreading the words of God is the only way that you can affect this world. Oh, you might have great wealth. You might do things that affect individuals on a momentary basis. Or you may be very, very evil and you may declare war. You may have great powers. You may hurt many millions of people. You may disrupt many things. But that's only going to bring you the incredible journey to the lower level. You won't enjoy that. You will be by yourself. You will be able to contemplate what you've done for millions of years, possibly, depending how bad you were. Many people are afraid to come out of that lower level because they have to repay the karma of what they did. Think about that. Isn't that just simply much easier to do good to others? You know how you want to be treated. So why don't you just go out and treat others the same way? It's sometimes as we watch over here, we're very perplexed. We understand how easy it is to obtain happiness, and we see people go so far out of their way to be unhappy. Think about that. That's really strange, isn't it? Why is it that a simple path can bring you happiness, yet humans choose the complexity of hurting others and bringing themselves great sadness and unhappiness? Well, it's a tough question to answer, and it's been going on for hundreds of thousands of years with humans. As we watch over here, we sometimes we think humans are very slow learners because they never learn. They just keep going back and doing the same stupid things. They keep declaring war. They keep killing people. They keep doing all these things that bring sadness and unhappiness when they could just simply sit back, do what is right, and live in a wonderful world. It's a great complexity, or it can be a great simplicity. It's how you make it, it's how you want it to be. Now, we can speak when we come to you in very difficult words. We could speak in parables that you wouldn't be able to understand. The church did that for many, many years. They made the gospels as hard to understand as they could because they did not want you to understand the simplicity of how it could be. Through the years, many religions wanted to complicate your lives by making you believe that you had to rely upon them for whatever salvation was ahead for your soul. That is a great complexity that many of the religions brought upon the people. The one thing that I would like you to understand today as I speak to you is the grand simplicity of God's idea for your creation and for your advancement. Do not do anything to anyone that you would not have brought onto you. You hear that repeatedly. You hear that from all of us that come forward to speak. You hear that from God himself. So why in heaven's name do you make it so complex? Just do what is right. Do what is good. Do what is best for others. And this will all be what is best for you. Don't fall into the trap of complications. You make all your own problems. God doesn't make them for you. You can blame God, but look in a mirror. That's what he told you to do this week. How many of you looked in the mirror and analyzed your own soul and your own path? All we can do is tell you. All we can do is speak to you. You have to do the rest. If you are listening to our words, that's a great first step. It may be that you've done your first steps, but at least have people listen to the messages. The greatest favor that you can do them is tell them about God's words. The greatest favor that you can do them is to let them know the true meaning of God and the true simplicity of his messages. Let them know that they do not have to complicate their lives. Let them know that they can do the very simplest of all things. And if they do the simplest of all things, they will enjoy a happy life on earth and a much happier life when they return to the realms of heaven. So, once again, I thank you. I thank you for allowing us to speak to you. I know Peter wants to speak next week. He's been telling us that, and he let Barry know. So, he'll have a very strong message for you. Peter is not a weak individual, and you will enjoy hearing what he has to say. He's very direct. In life, he was very direct with us, and we enjoyed it. So, goodbye. I know God listens to all of these, and I know that God blesses all of you that attempt to follow his words and live a good life. So, thank you for listening. Hopefully, you'll invite me back again sometime. And I hope I didn't insult anyone. Well, if I did, sorry. We will speak to you again. Okay.
Okay.
You're up. I'll be back next week with Peter.
All righty.
See you.
Bye. Well, there you have it. A great message from St. Timothy. Um, it's actually kind of funny. The the messages that he was talking about with how well they corresponded with the first part of this show. Like when I come on, because I've said before, I always write all that the morning of. I I come into my little studio here and I sit down and I write that message that I come on with in the morning. Um, and for whatever reason, I wasn't able to catch the Wednesday weekly message from Jesus. And when I wrote this morning, uh, it's kind of odd, kind of almost a little creepy in a way. I guess it's that time of year that I would have written it the way I did. Um, I had no idea what that weekly message was about. Um, and then here I was writing about, uh, you know, taking a closer look at yourself and you know, the whole learning to be comfortable with yourself and learning to just be, just kind of let things happen and just live life as you were supposed to. Just letting things develop naturally the way they're supposed to, and about being kind to one another and just learning to get along and just doing unto others as you'd have them do unto you. I say that every week, but like I said, I didn't listen to that message on Wednesday, and writing that this morning the way I did was kind of gets me right here listening to that now. Now I've got to go back and listen to that. Uh, but okay, I know I'm still kind of thrown by that a little bit. The message from Timothy and the way it corresponded with what I wrote this morning. That always gets me when that happens, and it happens a lot. Uh, so anyway, I'm gonna probably ponder on that for quite a while. Uh, but just like we were saying, and apparently Timothy and Jesus were saying also, uh, we say it every week. Do unto others as you'd have them do unto you, and just look out for one another. Uh, Love one another, help each other in any way you can, and just learn to exist. Don't let things complicate your life. Don't religion in general wasn't it isn't meant to be a complicated thing. It's meant for everyone. There A lot of the rules that we've grown to know and learn and everything is they're they're more rules of the church and less of the rules of God. Those were things that were put in there to try to guide and control and focus the message, uh, like the spreading of fear and things like that. That Jesus never spoke of fear when he walked the earth. That was something that was put in there to try to guide people toward uh, toward the church, try to bring people in to hear the message and to foster that relationship between the people and God. So there you have it. We'll see you again next week. We'll be talking to St. Peter. Um, really looking forward to that and doing to others as you'd have them do unto you. Talk to you next week. God bless.